When you are faced with editing hundreds of lines of code, you need a way to hide the parts that are not important for the immediate task. Visual Studio provides code outlining and code regions for these scenarios. I'm inside this outlining project, and I'm looking at the code inside the book.cs class. This is a class that has a number of properties, and it has a couple of methods, update price and cap price at maximum. Now, by default, when you open up a file in Visual Studio, in certain editors, outlining is enabled. C# is one of those editors. There's a line down the left side of the screen with some minus symbols on it. By clicking on these minus symbols, I can collapse a section of the code. That's what outlining means. I'm going to collapse this method, and then I'm also going to collapse this method down here. Now, you can still see the code by hovering your mouse over these three dots. You get a glimpse into the hidden code when you hover over this section. You can see that some lines are missing by looking at the line numbers down the side. It goes from 17 to 28 and 34 to 50. Now, of course, you can expand this at any time by clicking on the plus symbol. There's a menu for enabling and disabling outlining. That's over here in Edit, Outlining. So here you could toggle all outlining. You could stop outlining if you don't like that feature. Now that line is gone from the left side of the screen. To re-enable it, go back to Edit and choose Outlining, Start Automatic Outlining. You can also collapse all of your methods with one command. Choose Edit, Outlining, and then choose Collapse to Definitions. Now you see that I have my book is still readable, but both of my methods were collapsed. It also collapsed this XML comment section here. By default, XML comments also are outlineable. Let's go look at this HTML page. I do not see any outline bar in this one. You can enable and disable outlining for particular elements. Let me copy these TD tags down here. Verify that outlining is enabled. There we go. It was turned off for that file. I'm not sure why. You notice that this TR tag is now collapsible. These rules are something that you can configure. For instance, what if I want to create my own collapsible section for this H1, like this? That's not normally a setting that's enabled in the H1 tag. To change the HTML options, you go to Tools, Options, and then you go to the text editors and open up the HTML editor and then go to Formatting. Now you want to click on this tag-specific options and then go to your HTML tag section and find the tag that you want to add in outlining. For instance, if you look down here, you see that H2, there is no outlining enabled for H2, but for H1, I enabled that earlier. So by putting this check mark in there, it caused Visual Studio to add this plus minus symbol on the H1 tag. You'll see that other tags like the TR tag have outlining enabled, but they have a minimum number of lines. So until you have 5 lines of text within the TR tag, it will not show the outliner. You have total control over these settings. Next, I want to talk about what are called regions. So I'll switch back to my book class. A region is a way of building your own collapsible section. What you do is you find a section of code and you type in #region and then a string value like this. And then at the end of the section that you want to make collapsible, you type in #region. And you see the outliner automatically added a plus and minus symbol here. And when I click on the collapse, what you see is the value that you typed in my case, properties is what shows here. Again, I can hover over this to see the contents, and I can expand it as necessary. Now, another way of doing this is to highlight all the lines of code and then right-click and choose this command called Surround With. I'll say surround with a region. And I'm back to where I was. Code outlining is simple to understand and easy to work with. Regions are a bit more work, but you should try them on your next coding session.